The cafeteria was closed until further notice. The Sparkies were sent to the medical office. They had been sprayed so thoroughly that an actual fog surrounded them. Rumor had it Nurse Riley fainted from the smell. Thanks to Elliot, Pepper had jumped for cover just in time. Nori had turned human again in the middle of the chaos, and before anyone could find her or yell at her or take her to the nurse, she ran down the hall to the supply closet and hid. She was so mad at the Sparkies and if very very embarrassed and sorry, but she couldn't hide forever. After waiting a few minutes to calm down, she took a deep breath and walked out to recess alone. She would have to face everybody eventually, and it might as well be now. In the yard stood a swing set and a big climbing structure. On the blacktop was a basketball court. When ten or so flyer played flyball hovering 2 feet up in the air. In a grassy area nearby, fluxers turned into kittens and chased one another around. Some kids were doing ordinary stuff like jumping rope and playing tag. There is no fire and no flickering in the yard, said one of the lunch ladies, as Nori walked outside. An only non threatening transformation, understood? The UDM kids were standing around the swing set, with Sebastian holding on to Andre's leash. A larger group of ordinary kids were staring and pointing at them. Bunch of wonkos. They could have hurt someone. They were really gross. Um, that was really gross. Why do they have to be in our school? Is it even safe? The UDM kids did their best to ignore the comments. Willa and Pepper were on the swing. Marigold pushed them alternately. Elliot and Bax bounced a basketball and forth. When Nori walked over to them, the swing slowed to a halt. Everyone glared at her. I can't believe you did that to us, Elliot hissed. You made us look like wonkos, dangerous wonkos, Villa added, in front of entire school. I'm sorry, Nori said. I didn't mean to. Villa and Pepper got off their swing and they all turned their backs on her, even Sebastian and Floating Andres. Tear pricked Nori's eyes. You guys, please. Not one of them talked to her. Not one of them looked at her. For the whole rest of the day, they pretended she didn't exist. Miss Starr lectured everyone about tolerance and forgiveness. She reminded them that they all had magical powers that sometimes go out of hand. That's why we are here, she said. If we can't count on one another, who can we count on? No one listened. Nori called home when she got to Aunt Margot, but no one answered. Please call me back, she said to the voicemail. I can't stay here. I really can't. She watched the phone. It didn't ring. Aunt Margot got home from work just before dinner time. Let's call for pizza, she said to Nori. Should we get olives on it or pepperoni? Nori was surprised. Hawthorne cooked something nutritious involving vegetables every night, and they all ate it in the dining room with cloth napkin. Then Nori and Daria did the dishes before anyone was allowed dessert. Pizza again, she said. Do you eat meat? Asked Margot, looking at the takeout menu. I realize I don't even know if you eat meat. She opened the fridge. It had some fruit and milk in it, but nothing that would be made into dinner. Yes, pizza again, definitely. The only other place that delivers is fancy Japanese place, and it's not in the budget. Do you eat pizza every night? Asked Nori. Aunt Margot flushed suddenly. Don't you like pizza? I thought all kids wanted to eat pizza for every meal. I like pizza, said Nori. It's fine. Margot looked relieved. We could each eat an apple before it gets here, she said. So we get some vitamins. Sounds okay? Sure, said Nori. What about the meat? Said Margot, picking up her phone. Meat is good. You can go to town on the meat. Margot ordered a small pizza with double pepperoni, and they sat on the couch and ate their apples in silence while waiting for the delivery. Nori did her math and English homework. Margot looked over her taxi schedule for the next week on the computer. Nori wanted to talk to someone about Pepper and the Bitten and the Skunkfant and the Sparkies and how everyone in Upside Down Magic hated her guts now. But she had long ago learned not to talk about her wonky magic at home. Anyhow, she didn't know Aunt Margot well, and Margot seemed absorbed in her taxi schedule, so Nori stayed quiet. There was just a living room and and eat in kitchen. Nothing was very neat and nothing very messy. Margot didn't have much stuff and she clearly wasn't interested in decorating. The living room had some grown up books, a desk area with all her taxi papers piled around it, some cozy chair, and a couch. But there were no board games, no pets, no art supplies, or family photos. None of the jolly clutter that Hawthorne and Dahlia created in the back rooms of father's house. None of matching careful quality of formal front rooms. Aunt Margot lived alone till I got here. Nori realized she knew that already, of course, but suddenly she felt it. There was a knock on the door, and Margot got up to pay for pizza. When she came back with the box, she flipped on the television. They ate without plates, just a roll of paper towels, and watched the news. It was extremely boring. Aunt Margot didn't seem to realize it was boring though. She leaned forward and shoved pizza in her mouth, almost without stopping. Flying with a passenger is very physical, she said during a commercial. I need a lot of food at the end of the day. Oh, they watched another news segment and finished their pizza. Then Margot looked at Nori's face, really looked at her for the first time since she had gotten home. She switched off the TV. You had a bad first day, didn't you? Nori's throat closed up suddenly. She nodded. Super rotten bad or just ordinary new kid bad? Nori wasn't going to cry. She couldn't cry in front of this near stranger aunt. The aunt who didn't even know how bad of a wonko Nori was yet, who had been so nice to take Nori in when her own father didn't want her. She just pressed her lips together to keep the crying in. Are you going to yak? Shouted Margot suddenly. Oh dear, don't yak on the carpet. Let's just walk you over here to the floor. She pulled Nori gently by the elbow until they were standing on the patch of bare floor. Okay, yak here. Go right ahead. This is good yak territory. Watch out for your shoes. Nori burst out laughing. I'm not going to yak. She said, you are not? No, really, really. Margot smiled. Oh, phew. I thought that was about your about to yak face. No, I thought the double pepperoni was a bad idea maybe. No, no, it was good. You made me a little nervous there, said Margot, that face. No, no, it was. That was my super rotten bad day face, Nori admitted. Oh, Margot looked at her expectantly. There was a silence, and then Nori blurted, I hurt a girl's feeling, but not on purpose, and I didn't know how to say sorry, and then I turned into a bittern and ate some books, and people thought and that was weird. But then at lunch I turned into a skunk fan and they had to close the cafeteria and it was really badly smelling like no smell you ever sniffed, and I couldn't help it, and Elliot's mad at me, and the Sparkings are mad at me, and the whole upside down class is mad at me, and they think I am the wonkiest kid in the whole wonky classroom. Aunt Margot sat down on the edge of the sofa. Zamboozled, she said finally. That is a super rotten day to end all super rotten days, I think. Yeah. Okay, how can I help? Father always told his children they had to help themselves. He couldn't do things for them or make things easier. Helping themselves was the way they would learn. Nori kind of thought he was right about that, but it was nice to hear this verse from Margot now. I don't know, Nori squeaked in reply. Then let's go for a fly, said Margot, pulling her coat from the closet. Come on, bundle up. Aren't you tired? Not anymore. I got rest. I ate pizza. Here, wear some gloves. They bundled up and went outside into the Margot's backyard. Then they levitated straight up in the air together, not too high, and from there floated gently over the town of Dunwiddle. Margot pointed out at the pharmacy, a street full of restaurants, and the shop, and the park with its pond full of duck. A few other flyers passed by, enjoying the evening light. One of them had a canary on the long leash, taking her for an outing. The others were alone. Since most flyers couldn't take passenger, Margot waved at them and called out, It's my niece Nori, and the one I told you about. Nori waved too and flyers waved back. Margot seemed proud of her, or at least glad to have her. They flew along a creek that meandered through town. They flew out over the town swimming pool, which was empty, and the fly ball court at the high school. After a while, they came back to Margot's house. They took a hot shower and put on pajamas, and then Nori went to sleep in her little iron bed in the room with the bright green walls. Much to her own surprise, she felt okay. But next morning at school was just as bad as first day. Today we are going to do math and geography and vocabulary just like any other class, Miss Starr said. But I like to get creative with literature, she smiled. You are not just going to read poems and write essays, you are going to read poems and do interpretive dance. Huh, said Elliot. Part of developing your upside down magic is getting in touch with your emotion. You want to understand your feelings so you don't turn into bitten or a rock or cause a rainstorm when you don't want one or shrink someone's car. Urium is not about controlling your feeling, it's about understanding them. Whatever, grumbled Bax, I don't have feelings. Then he turned into a rock and had to be taken to Nurse Riley. Marigold took him in a wheelbarrow Miss Starr had brought to class that morning for this very purpose. The rest of the students read poems called The Lost Mermaid. Then Miss Starr played ocean music through the speaker and called them to carpeted area of the classroom. She can't find her parent. Feel her sadness, cried Miss Starr. She dropped to her knees and made swimming motion with her arms. Feel her panic, feel her terror, feel whatever it is the poem made you feel. Get in touch with it. I didn't sign up for a dance class, whined Andres from the ceiling. Give it a chance, said Miss Starr. You can be a hungry shark if you want to, or an angry shrimp, or a stoic rock. On second thought, don't be a rock. We never want to make fun of backs. There are no such thing as mermaids, Villa grumbled. Not true, Miss Starr said. No one has seen one for over 100 years, but they did exist. Sebastian rolled around on the carpet, apparently feeling feelings. Pepper scrunched into a ball with her head between her knees. Nori pretended to be sad seaweed. She swayed over to Elliot, waving her hands swiftly above her head. I'm really, really sorry, she said to him, about the skunk fan and your Sparky's friend. Go away, Elliot said. I'm very busy being a blobfish. A blobfish? Nori studied Elliot. He was leaning against the wall, not doing a thing. Elliot became even more blob like. Yes, I am feeling annoyed. I wonder if you can guess why. Because blobfish look like they are made out of dough, Nori asked hopefully. Nope, that's not why. He called. You are not going to turn into a blob kitten now, are you? A bitten? Nori shivered. Gross. I can't make any promises, she said, but I'll try not to. Just then the ceiling opened and the rain poured down on all of them. A lot of rain. Sorry, yelled Willa. No need to apologize, cried Miss Starr, running to grab the umbrellas. This is a teachable moment. Let's talk about why that rain just happened. Let's understand the connection between your feeling and your magic. The rain stopped. Everyone got their spare clothes from their cubbies and the janitor was called in again, but even though it was Villa who had caused the problem, it was still Nori that no one wanted to talk to. The days passed and nothing got better. When it came time for the class to study magic, Miss Starr told her students to do headstand. They all had to come to the rug where Miss Starr urged them to flip their world upside down. She had Andre stand on his feet like a bat with his head downward. She gave him a closed umbrella as a prop. No one except Villa was very good at it. Most of the students had to lean against the wall. Bax turned into a rock every time he went upside down. Every single time. Then he was taken off to Nurse Riley in the wheelbarrow. After about an hour, he returned to class in his human form, usually with a green medicine mustache. It seems like a hopeless cause, but Miss Starr made all of them keep practicing. Headstand calm our brain and relieve stress, she insisted. More importantly, they let you see things upside down. They give you another way of thinking about the world. It really helped those of us with the upside down magic, I promise. Nori wasn't sure the teacher knew what she was talking about. Miss Starr, she asked, one day when they were all upside down, except Bax, who was a rock, and Sebastian, who was on wheelbarrow duty. Did headstand help you with your magic? Miss Starr was in the center of carpet doing a perfect headstand. It helped me tremendously, she said. Because your magic is upside down too, said Marigold. Absolutely, that's why I wanted to become a teacher. Um, just tell us what it is, begged Willa. Please, we want to know it's different, but different how? It's magic that, well, it might disrupt the classroom when I bring it in, said Miss Starr mysteriously. I want us to all get settled before I share it with you. I bet you are a special kind of flicker, guessed Elliot. No, some kind of fluxer, guessed Andres. No, a fuzzy, guessed Pepper. I shall tell you when it's time, said their teacher. Now I want all of you to come down to the floor. Andres and I shall get a bag of bricks for you to hold. Uh, we are going to do a group trust exercise. Everyone groaned. Every day, as soon as school lets out, Nori raced to Aunt Margot and called home. Every day she reached voicemail. Please call me back, father, she said. It's awful here, Hawthorne, she said, and I miss your cooking. The other kids talk about me when they think I can't hear Halia. Um, she said, they are really messed up. I just want to come home, please. No one called back. 2 weeks after Nori arrived on Saturday morning, Aunt Margot made a call on her own. Stone, she said sharply, I know you are there. I know you are letting our calls go to voicemail. I am sure you have told Hawthorne and Dahlia not to pick up. This is unacceptable. Nori is your daughter. You need to stop acting like a dimwit. I know you have my number, so call us back. But father didn't. After 2 hours of waiting, Aunt Margot punched in a different number. It's time for you to meet Nori. Aunt Margot said to the person on the phone, can you come and get us? She paused, then said, yes, perfect. Give us 5 minutes. 6 if you want me to brush my hair. She laughed. Said, love you too, love, and hung up. We are going for lunch, she said, Nori. Figgs is coming for us in his car. Who's Figgs? Nori asked. She was crumpled on the couch, feeling sorry for herself. He's my boyfriend.